Hey everybody, good afternoon. We're back and we're talking with Greg Schwake, North Hero FX. How's it going, Greg?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. It's been an active 2 days, as a matter of fact. I wasn't expecting this so much, but it has been an active 2 days on the headlines and also in price action. Tell me what you're seeing in terms of the NAFTA news and what you're seeing on the FX side.
It's funny. It seems that stocks have reacted more to the positive NAFTA headlines globally that there's a trade deal here than dollar MEX. Dollar MEX is actually up, meaning Mexico is lower than when the deal was announced Monday morning. I think it was released. Very interesting to see that kind of price action. A deal was very, very much priced in. They've been talking about it for weeks, about a handshake agreement. Trump kept saying that we're going to have a deal any day now. And over the weekend, he tweeted as well that we're very close to a deal. So it's a classic thing that you see in trading of buy the rumor, sell the fact. The rumor was that definitely it was going to be a deal, and you got the deal, and a few hours after the deal, that was the low. I still haven't reviewed all the details of the deal. Obviously, there were some concessions on both sides. The fact that we have a deal is a good sign. Trump needed a deal, and we needed it before we went into the midterms. And I think the cutoff was September 1st for trying to get it in for Mexican politics as well as for our midterm elections. But since then, just within the last hour, a Democratic senator came out and won't acknowledge a deal until really Canada's involved. And I sort of agree with that assessment that we need Canada involved here too.
Well,
And
I
I don't
think
think,
I think Mexico even mentioned that yesterday that they would like to see Canada involved as well.
yeah, I don't think Canada is just going to roll over that easy and just give into all these demands. So I think it's still some headline trading there with respect to Canada that you will be able to trade. And there has been with these events a lot of headline trading. And with EM, you have to be really quick. And you could see that for the past 4 or 5 weeks with dollar Turkey, with the sanctions that Trump put on, because we're still waiting for that Pastor Brunson. You've heard me talk about it on this podcast many times before and posting on your website. Dollar ZAR, there was some crazy activity a few hours ago. Basically, Trump also made some comments about
I actually just brought up a chart. So on my left-hand chart, I have dollar rand, and on the right-hand chart, I have dollar mex. So yeah, I see that price action in dollar rand. It looks like we moved from 414 down to 1395, then back up. What was
yeah,
that?
a headline came out that the ANC Congress um, was going to shelve or withdraw a bill about taking over farmland from the farmers, predominantly white farmers, and redistribute it. But it's funny that drove dollar rand about 1.5% lower, and it's since retraced the entire way. It was sort of a almost fake news headline there, because a contradictory headline came out a little later. It's funny that the decision on this Section 25 of the Constitution isn't going to happen until September 27th. So again, you have to keep an eye out for these headlines. And dollar MEX now is trading at 18.95. It's moved up 5 big figures since that senator
Well, that's
mentioned.
I was going to jump back to that because you jumped to dollar rand, but dollar mex is an interesting one because we had the NAFTA news, or no longer NAFTA, now it's this whatever they're going to call it, but it was seen as excitement yesterday. Risk traded positively. Dollar mex traded down to 1860, which is roughly a 2% strengthening of the Mexican currency at the highest point, and now we've more than 100% retraced that bounce, and we're trading at 1896 as we speak.
Yeah, and what you've seen is the last week and a half. I mean, euro has had a big 300 pip, a 3 big figure move back higher. The dollar has sold off. And what you saw some time ago, when dollar EM usually explodes higher, they flock. When I say they, I mean just the market in general, tends to buy dollars across the board. So what happens is a risk-on move that we've been seeing with equities breaking all-time highs is the dollar's been selling off. And what I mentioned on your website is if dollar EM stays this bid, and I posted the returns today of just today what some of these currencies have done. I can't imagine that the overall dollar against the majors continues to sell off. Just so far today, dollar ruble is higher by 0.5%. Dollar Brazil is up 1.2%. Dollar Argentina is up 1.3%.
Yeah, it's
dollar
an interesting.
Mexico's up.
Yeah, it's an interesting disconnect because, like you're saying, dollar versus EM is higher, but euro is higher. The dollar is actually weaker against G10, which doesn't often happen, or at least when it does, it doesn't typically stay. And it's funny on the CFTC report. We've had a significant long dollar position, which has suffered as euro traded down in the 113 handle, and here we are back at 117. The summer range, if anything, we're at the higher end of the summer range right here in euro.
Mike, if it was easy, everyone would do it. We're just trying to make it a little easier for everybody else, I guess.
Exactly. And then another interesting move has been actually euro yen. I have up a chart of it's an hourly chart. It looks like it's about 10 days, and we traded down to 125, the low 125 handle at the height of the Turkey kind of euro contagion side, and since then here we are back above 130. So over the past 10 days, it's been a pretty significant euro yen move, especially because the euro yen hasn't been that volatile over the past 6 months.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I'm looking to sell some euro yen up at these levels, up above 130. Dollar Turkey, something we didn't mention all last week because the entire country was on holiday, traded between 600 and 620, and as we speak, it's 627. Earlier today, there was a Wall Street Journal article that said that Germany might come to their rescue, but that Turkey bid was short-lived, and now we're trading higher.
Yeah, I mean, another day passes and we're, in this 625-ish range, and this is a significant currency move. When you talk about a country that's importing oil and importing a lot of goods, this is a massive move from where we were 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago. And there's definitely going to be further fallout. It's just a question of how much exposure is out there and what these other countries can do.
I haven't been following it that closely, but you need to keep an eye on the migrant issue in Europe right now. Italy has balked at taking a certain amount of migrants, and that's been a sticking point between EU and Italy. And Turkey has also agreed to partake in this situation. So Germany really needs to have Turkey on board, and Turkey and Germany are huge trading partners.
Yeah. So before we let you go, we're kind of back on G10. What do we have in terms of the calendar for the next 2 or 3 days that could be a big catalyst, and any key levels you're looking at on G10 side?
I haven't really looked at all the levels. I'm sort of a little bit in vacation mode. We've got 4 more days.
You're not the only one. Exactly. A lot of people gearing up for next week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what do we have this week, Mike? Do you know on the calendar?
No, to tell you the truth, there isn't a whole lot. I was wondering if Greg had something out of the box catalyst he was looking at because no.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now. Tomorrow's GDP. That's the second reading of GDP, so that could be definitely something to trade off of. And then we have Thursday, we have PCE core. That's always a great thing to keep an eye out for inflation.
But I also think, especially off of what Powell last week with Jackson Hole really tamed things down. it sounds like we're going to get two more hikes this year, and then if anything, it sounds like the next hike that is actually priced in, I believe, is June of 2019. So, we're definitely in wait and see mode after these next two hikes, and so I don't know, unless we get significant inflation ramp up, that would obviously quicken the pace of hikes potentially, and that would be something that would alarm the markets. But I also think that was a large part of this risk rally, was the fact that Powell didn't really say a whole lot and didn't scare anybody with inflation.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The other thing that we haven't mentioned today is how things are going with the China negotiations. Ross came out through cold water on that. That there basically nothing came out of those meetings last week, and Trump feels a little bit emboldened after Mexico coming to the table. So that is definitely something into
Yeah.
September that we're going to keep an eye on.
Well, I think you're spot on that. I think we saw CNBC yesterday. We had Kudlow and Ross and Trump all vocal yesterday, in a way taking a bit of a victory lap, that they're satisfied with where they are. I think they feel like they have China on the back foot, that they need to make a deal. It's on China. I'm sorry, not China. Canada. And China's a different beast, because actually I think even the U.S. administration isn't that optimistic that anything's going to happen in the coming days or weeks. So we'll see with midterms coming up how that plays out from that side. But yeah, obviously, definitely, if something develops with China, that's a catalyst. And we got Labor Day weekend coming up, and then it's been an active week, but it's definitely going to be an active last 4 months of the year. I think everybody's bracing for that. It's going to be pretty active.
I mean, for August, it's been pretty busy, and it was all brought about from emerging markets concerns.
It has. So, I'm just looking at the Euro Yen chart. I mean, we traded about 129 down to 125, then back up to 130. Euros had a decent range. We traded down to 113, now back up. So that's a decent move for G10 these days. And then emerging markets, like you like to point out, I mean, we've obviously had Turkey's been significantly volatile, and dollar mex has had some moves. So there's definitely been some FX opportunities, and you've been very active in that front for us.
I think just one last point, Mike, is, and I mentioned it on the website, is these stories to follow. If you follow some of these stories in these emerging market currencies, they're not hard to follow, and you have to be prepared, if you know the story, to get involved. And so many people want to talk about, euro dollar's up 30 points. What happened? 30 pips is nothing. Some of these other currencies are moving 1 to 2% a day, down and back up. There are opportunities there. You just have to prepare yourself, read the story, follow what's going on, and the information's all out there, whether you have a Bloomberg or a Reuters or just simply on Google.
Well, that's what they're also coming to our site and getting that information from you. So keep us posted. You have been. It's really good information. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll talk soon.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of the week if I don't talk to you.
All right. Talk to you later, Greg.
Take care, Mike.